Hello, Facebook fans. Welcome to the live question and answer from the AutoCAD office here in San Francisco. I have several members of the product team, which you can see over here to my left. And over here to my right, I have a few people that will be answering questions on Twitter. So if you have questions, please be sure to type them into the chat box, and we will hope to get them answered here. So let's start off first with a question, let's see, from Joe is asking, isn't AutoCAD for the Mac already the LT version?
No, it is not. So AutoCAD LT, obviously does not have 3D modeling, rendering, Lisp automation, Object ARX. All the standard things that make LT different from AutoCAD for Windows is the same actually in AutoCAD for Mac. There's definitely very, very different products.
Okay, perfect. So can you guys elaborate a little bit further on what the big announcement was today and go and review all of the products that we announced?
Sure, I can do that. So today we announced the new version of AutoCAD 2012 for Mac. So the last version was last October. This is a new version with associative array and a whole bunch of other great new fun features, including network licensing. We also introduced a new version of AutoCAD, a new kind of way to access AutoCAD WS. The AutoCAD WS for Mac product was introduced and is available for free on the Mac App Store. And finally, we introduced AutoCAD LT for Mac. First version available today, available in the US and Canada on the Mac App Store. And you can download it, and I hear you can do it in about 45 seconds, which is pretty awesome.
Perfect, that sounds good. So we have a question from BIM Guy, asks if the products are going to work on snow leopards.
The products do work on, well, at least the AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT works on snow leopard. I'll let Iris
AutoCAD
answer.
WS works on snow leopard as well.
There you go.
Perfect. Tyson asked when it will be available on the Sub Center.
So AutoCAD for Mac is on subscription. So if you are a AutoCAD 2011 for Mac customer and you are on subscription, AutoCAD 2012 for Mac will ship this Friday. So that's the first customer ship date of the product. So my expectation is probably Friday or within a couple days after that.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see here. When will the products be available for students?
I believe that's also the same time frame. So this Friday or within a couple days after.
Okay. Perfect. Do you guys have any questions coming from Twitter? No, not yet? Okay. So for those of you guys that are on Twitter, you can also tweet your questions with the hashtag design816, and we'll be sure to answer them here as well. So we have a handful of questions that had come in during our previous announcement. So let's see here. Why does AutoCAD WS require an app to work properly on OS X?
Okay, so we know that we have many Mac users that are using WS today from Safari using their browser. And I think that our goal when creating WS was to enable users to work on their drawings from more platforms, more devices, and more locations. And I would say that in a similar way to supporting iOS and Android, because some of the users prefer iOS, other users prefer Android, we do want to support the web and the desktop. We know that some of our users prefer to work offline or just prefer to access and collaborate over their files from the desktop. And that's why we created WS for the Mac, just to support more flavors of WS.
Yeah, and even to add to that, when I've used AutoCAD WS for Mac over the last couple of weeks, like the native multi-touch behavior is really nice. Like you get that sort of true native feel, which you don't always get from some of the other browser-based applications or something like that.
Fantastic. All right, we have another question regarding what are the main differences between LT and AutoCAD for Mac. So let's assume that we're referring to LT for Mac versus the full AutoCAD for Mac.
So is that kind of like I was saying earlier? It's the 3D modeling, so the rendering, materials, solid, surface, and mesh modeling. It's the automation, so it's the Lisp routines, Object ARX extensibility. I'm forgetting one. I think that's mostly it. But all of the associative array and the sort of productivity enhancements that we talked about, they're all there. Most of the 2D stuff is all there. I would say it's actually the significant majority of the product.
Okay, perfect. And related to that, is there a plan to release AutoCAD LT for Mac outside of the US?
We have no plans at this time. We're taking input, so if you've got feelings one way or the other, we'd love to hear about it, but we have no public plans at this time.
Okay, perfect. Another interested party is wondering when Revit for the Mac will be coming, or if it will be coming at all.
These are not questions that the AutoCAD team gets to answer, but my understanding is that there's no officially stated plans for that. But again, if you're interested, I suggest you tweet, blog, send us feedback. The more people ask for what they want, the more likely people are to get it.
Perfect. All right. We have a question for you, Matt. Does LT for Mac use the same UI as AutoCAD?
Yeah, for the most part, the UI on AutoCAD LT for Mac is the same. We did make some changes to the starting experience. So, for instance, the command line is turned off by default, and we rely on the dynamic input feature for command entry. I believe we also have increased the starting size of many of the icons in the toolsets panel to be a little larger. You'll also notice that we've done some reshuffling of various UI elements since when we removed pieces of the UI that are only in AutoCAD, we needed to kind of shuffle things around. But for the most part, no, it's the same UI that you all love from the AutoCAD for Mac product.
Perfect. I just want to send a reminder out to everyone to please type their questions into the chat box on Facebook. And if you're watching elsewhere, you can also tweet your questions with the hashtag Design816 on Twitter, and we'll try to get them answered here as well. So let's see, what video cards are supported on the Mac version?
So with the 2012 release, we pretty much support all available Mac hardware. There was definitely some issues with the release of Lion in AutoCAD for Mac 2011. Those issues have since been fixed. So we essentially support all graphics cards that AutoCAD for Mac that Apple has released in since about January 1st, 2009. So some of the more troublesome ones have now been fixed in this version.
Okay, perfect. And Iris, just a clarification question from Tyson. When will AutoCAD WS be available in the App Store?
It's going to be available in 2 days, together with the new version of the mobile app, both for iOS and Android.
Okay, perfect. So on Thursday.
Yeah.
Great. Let's see. Now, does the WS for Mac provide any APIs for creating plugins?
Not yet, but that's something that is on a roadmap, and you'll probably hear more news about APIs during the next year.
Okay. Perfect. Sounds good. So Rob, can you elaborate a little bit further on the network license option for the AutoCAD?
Sure. So AutoCAD for Mac is available in the single-seat standalone license. In the United States, that's $3,995. If you buy the network license option, that's $4,999 in the United States. The network license version, well, it's the same product really. And so the binary actually ships with the Windows, Linux, and Mac network license servers. So you can install those if you don't have one already, or if you have an existing network license server, you can just add the AutoCAD for Mac network license credential to it. And then AutoCAD for Mac will wake up, radio home to the network license server, check out a license, and you're good to go.
Perfect. All right. So we have a couple of questions regarding the difference between Mac and Windows. So you know, we have one comment on Twitter that says, Mac and Windows are absolutely equal for you now. Do you view one platform as the primary one?
I'm not sure I'd put it that way, but yeah, I would say we've got customers on the Windows platform and customers on the Mac platform. And so we built essentially products for both. You know, and one's not necessarily better than the other or anything like that, but there are kind of different user interface expectations and stuff like that. And even some of the design changes Matt was talking about in the LT version, you know, we sort of took another step farther towards having like the command line off by default and some of the more advanced features. Like they're still there, you can just turn them on, but they're the ease of use factor to get sort of a discoverable, more get up to speed quicker is really kind of enhanced. So to answer the question, yeah, I would say that there are definitely different products for different markets, but none is better than the other.
Okay. And any recommendations if someone's going out to buy a new computer tomorrow, if they should, and they want to run AutoCAD, should they go and buy a PC or should they go and buy a Mac?
Seeing as how this is the Mac event and I'm the Mac product manager, I'm inherently biased, but I would say go buy a Mac, but the company line is that there is no official preference. If you're going to buy a Mac, the most popular Mac is actually the 15-inch MacBook Pro. You know, people are doing more and more drafting on that. It's not what we probably traditionally consider a big CAD workstation. So if you want the most horsepower, you know, you go buy a huge 8-core Mac Pro with top-of-the-line ATI graphics card or whatever. But that's not exactly the most mobile solution. So anyway, it depends on what you're doing. Like if you're doing more 3D, the 3D graphics card obviously makes a bigger difference. You know, if you have big drawings, I would get as much memory as possible.
All right, that makes sense. Let's see. So Irish MJ wants one of these fancy mugs. I know, aren't they great? We love them. You know, Irish, I know that you already got the dyno from last week's Facecast. Maybe we'll get a mug to you at some point, but as of right now, they are just here for Autodesk employees here in San Francisco. So let's see, is the DWG file compatible across the Windows and Mac products?
Absolutely. It's the exact same DWG files. You can open them across the network, send them, do whatever you need to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, with the release of the AutoCAD WS app for the Mac, curious to know, Patrick on Twitter is wondering if there will be an AutoCAD WS version app for the PC, not running in the browser.
Well, that's something that we're considering, and as I said before, we're trying to bring WS to as many platforms as possible. And it's not something that we're working on right now, and we probably see how users are embracing the WS for Mac and how they're using a desktop app, and we'll decide what to do next.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's see. What video acceleration does AutoCAD use? OpenGL or CUDA?
It uses OpenGL. I believe CUDA is the NVIDIA programming language. Yeah, if I got that right. Yeah, we don't use that. We use sort of the Apple-provided OpenGL implementation.
Okay, perfect. Another question from our Facecast viewers is, will I be able to import these DWG files into Max or Maya?
Yeah, you should be able to do that with the current capabilities that already exist in Max and Maya to import DWG files.
Yeah. Since they're the same, there's no difference.
Exactly the same.
Okay. And looks like we have a few questions about the free student download. Is that the plan for AutoCAD for Mac?
So AutoCAD for Mac is will be available probably in a couple days on the students.autodesk.com. So when the product first ships, which will be Friday, that should become available. There's no student version of AutoCAD LT, primarily because we're exclusively available in the Mac App Store, and there's just different student terms on the Mac App Store. So you can get the full-featured AutoCAD available at students.autodesk.com by about Friday or Saturday.
Perfect. That sounds good. So let's see. Is the UI of AutoCAD WS and AutoCAD for Mac the same?
Well, it's similar, and I think that since the UI of AutoCAD for Mac was very successful, we've tried to create a similar UI, and I think that AutoCAD Mac users are going to find the commands and the way to use WS for Mac very easily.
Perfect. Okay. Is there a Vault add-in for AutoCAD for Mac?
There is not at this time. We've had a couple of requests for it, but there's nothing available right now.
Okay, perfect. So we'd recommend you guys hop onto the discussion forums and give us feedback as you download AutoCAD for Mac 2012. Let us know what you want. Is AutoCAD for Mac going to join the main suite release cycle in the near future?
So we have no officially stated, unfortunately I'm not allowed to talk about future product releases here. So it is not at this time, but if people are interested in that, we want to hear about it as much as possible.
Okay, perfect. Is AutoCAD WS available as a Droid application?
So what is
Droid on the Droid phone.
Of course, yeah. All the mobile phones which are using Android operating system can run WS, and we have over 1 million users that are doing so.
Perfect. Sounds great. Let's see here. Keep those questions coming both on Facebook and on Twitter with the hashtag Design816. Can AutoCAD for Mac open and save files from R14 or older?
Yes, we can. I had to double check, but I'm pretty sure, and with the confirmation, yes, we can.
Perfect. Can we export FBX files?
No, we cannot.
Yeah, I believe so.
Not at this time.
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Let's see. Who discovered AutoCAD?
I think we had like 13 founders, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think they all left by the time I got here.
It was a long time ago.
Long time ago. Let's see. Just checking Twitter and Facebook right now. How is the stability of the new AutoCAD format?
It is excellent. We've spent quite a bit of time. We've got a product in the field. We've got a lot of field testing, big beta. We spent a lot of time in beta. We spent a lot of time on defects, that we found once they were out. There's several service packs in the field. All of those things have been incorporated into the product. It's actually faster than the 2011 product. So we spent a lot of time on stability and performance because there's nothing worse to a productivity loss than an unstable product. So that was absolutely one of the paramount features of this product, is to be as stable as possible.
All right, perfect. Does AutoCAD WS for Mac support 3D?
Not yet, but that's also something that we're planning. And if you were watching WS over the course of the last year, you see that it's changing very rapidly, and we release an update every 3 or 4 months. So you can expect more good news this year.
Good. All right. Is there a DWF viewer for the Mac?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe there is.
No? Okay. Will my Lisp routines work on the Mac?
For the most part, yes. Not 100% yes, but pretty close. So the differences are we don't have the DCL, the dialog control language. There's also Visual Basic extensions in the Lisp API, and sort of the COM bridge stuff. So as long as you don't have Microsoft dependencies or DCL dependencies, your Auto Lisp routines will run seamlessly. So all of our samples and stuff like that run without modification.
Okay. Okay. That sounds great. Does AutoCAD for Mac support raster images?
Yes.
Yes.
All of the ones that we have on AutoCAD 2011 for Windows. Same formats on both platforms.
Okay. Perfect. Is there going to be Linux support anytime soon?
There's none in the current plans, but like I said, keep asking. You guys are in the minority, I'll say that now. So,
I know that was one of the predictions that a lot of people had, so make sure to give us some feedback on the discussion forums. Are there any upgrade discounts?
yes, there are. I would advise you to contact your reseller. There are different discounts in different areas. So especially if you're an AutoCAD 2011 for Mac customer, there's some pretty great discounts in the US and Canada that you should check out. And there's other discounts in other parts of the world.
Okay, perfect. So Iris, the question for you about WS. Can I plot from AutoCAD WS without an AutoCAD license?
Yes, you
Yes.
can, and it's from WS for Mac and the web application.
Perfect, all right. How will support be handled for AutoCAD LT for Mac? Will it be different than it has been in the past?
Probably a little bit different. We're still learning, so the Mac App Store is a very new way to access the product. So for the most part, the actual, other than the installation process, the product is exactly the same. So the command line, et cetera, graphics cards, dependencies, all that kind of stuff is exactly the same. So our knowledge base, where we have articles about issues and stuff like that, those are all directly applicable. We're also working on sort of a new support site that we haven't gotten live just yet, but probably will in the next couple of days, sort of like a get satisfaction kind of thing that'll probably be up in probably about a week or so. So for the most part, it's going to be supported similar to how we support our other stuff, but with changes obviously in the reseller channel. If you can only get it through the Mac App Store, Apple's not going to be providing that support. So to try and compensate, I think we're going to have a little bit more sort of direct product team access to help support the product in the field.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Will AutoCAD for Mac 2012 work on a MacBook Air?
Yes, it will.
All
It
right.
has. It does. Yes, it does.
Right there on that machine. All right, perfect. Let's see here. Is there a cross-platform upgrade if you want to transfer from Windows LT to Mac LT?
There is not for LT. There is for full-blown AutoCAD, but because AutoCAD LT is managed through the Mac App Store, our sort of traditional licensing mechanism doesn't really apply, right? So Apple, the way they set it up, you've got your Apple ID, you've got your credit card affiliated with that ID, and you've got your password. And pretty much you log into the App Store, you say buy, you put in your password, it bills your credit card. So there's no way to say if I have a previous release or a Windows release or anything like that. So it's very simple, but it's not particularly flexible that way.
Okay. Another question about the customer purchasing experience. Is the AutoCAD for Mac always going to be a separate purchase, or will existing AutoCAD users be able to choose their platform moving forward?
We've gotten a lot of feedback about that. We've made some advances in this release to make that a little bit easier. So if you're interested in doing that, I would advise you to contact your reseller, and we'll see what we can do about that. In general, we're trying to make the products as equal as possible, but there's definitely some challenges to making that happen. So so first thing, contact your reseller. If not, providing us feedback will always help.
Okay, perfect. Just a reminder to chat in your questions in the Facecast chat box below the video that you're watching right now, or jump onto Twitter and include the hashtag design816 in your tweets. We're going to be chatting here with you live for as long as we have questions, so keep the questions coming. Let's see. Question about WS. Can I use the same WS account on my MacBook Air and my Android phone?
Sure. I think the entire idea of the WS is to have several applications connected to one account, and one change that we've made in the next update is that you can log into more than one device or one platform at a time. So users are used to being logged out when they enter the iPhone after being connected in the web, and that's something that we have changed, and they can access from the iPhone, Mac, web at the same time and work on the same drawing.
Oh, perfect. All right. Let's see. Is there a trial version of LT for Mac?
There is not, just like there is not a trial version of any app that is on the Mac App Store. So there is a trial version of full-blown AutoCAD, I believe available today, I think. If not today, in the near future, like the next couple of days. So yeah, so you can download that trial, and it's very similar. Like Matt was saying, the UI is very similar. Some of the defaults are different, but and there's additional capabilities with 3D and customization. But for the most part, that's kind of our proxy in the interim.
Okay. I know we have a lot of students watching from all around the world, and just want to sort of confirm that if students go to students.autodesk.com, AutoCAD for Mac 2012 will be available in a couple of days.
Yes.
Friday, Saturday range.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, with regards to the App Store, so is there going to be an Autodesk App Store similar to the Apple App Store?
Well, there actually kind of already is a Autodesk App Store. It's different though than the Mac Apple App Store. I believe we launched. Do you know more about this than I do?
Yeah, we launched in the AutoCAD 2011 for Windows product. We launched the Autodesk Exchange, so the App Store is in there. It came live very recently. You can go and browse apps that various third parties have submitted for you to buy or download for free in many instances, actually.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. Let's see. So I know we're getting a lot of questions about Revit, and unfortunately, we are not the Revit team. We are the AutoCAD team right now. So we're going to have to hold the Revit questions. Do feel free to hop on over to the discussion forums and post your questions and your asks for Revit for the Mac over there, and hopefully that team will be sure to follow them. With regards to training videos, so we have I'm sure going to have a number of people that are going to be moving from the PC platform over to the Mac platform with the release of these new products. So how can users get started and really learn the product from the beginning?
Sure. So I think we've got quite a few videos that are up there. Even with the 2011 launch, we had a bunch of sort of transfer from Windows to Mac kind of videos and that sort of stuff. I believe we have a bunch of training videos up on Exchange. Up on Facebook, I'm told. the voice from the cloud is talking to me. It says it's on Facebook. So yeah, so we have quite a few videos up there. I think we had 40 some odd training videos in various places between Exchange and Facebook. Yeah, so a lot of content was created specifically for that purpose.
Okay, perfect.
There's also books available and training courses available. Like there's a lot of training materials. A lot of which are even applicable from the Windows world, because things like the command line is exactly the same, the canvas is exactly the same. So the Chrome and stuff is different in the UI for AutoCAD for Mac versus Windows, but the vast majority is very similar.
I know we had a question, Rob, when you were showing the demo video during the presentation earlier. Someone had asked, where's the command line? They didn't see the command line. But for the most part, the command line is there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely there.
It was there. I am definitely a command line kind of guy. I learned AutoCAD back in R12, where it was all command line. So we do use a lot more of the sort of dynamic input, and so I was pretty much just typing commands straight into the dynamic input when I recorded the video. So those kind of users that want to just sort of type at will, I do that quite freely. So the command line was just minimized in that video. It is actually there. If you hit F2, just like you do on AutoCAD for Windows, the window pops up. So you get the more feedback rather than just a single line. I think only a single line shows by default, but you can expand it, float it, dock it, whatever you like.
We actually added some new features in the latest release. So it has both the command line and dynamic input have the autocomplete functionality there too. So
yeah, which is super, super helpful.
Yeah, and I have some WS news about the command line. So this week we're adding the command line to the web application. That's one of the most popular feedback that we receive from our users. And some users ask for command line in the mobile device. So that's something that we're not playing yet. But in 2 days, you'll be able to type all the commands in the web application.
Great. Great. All right. Let's see. We have a technical question coming from Facebook. Will you update the object ARX Xcode templates for use with Xcode 4?
I believe not yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not. So we still are compiling on Snow Leopard in the previous version of Xcode, and we target Lion, so that's how we support Lion, but we don't natively compile on Lion just yet.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Is there a connection with Project Neon for render in the cloud?
Not yet. So Project Neon is still trying to come to market a little bit, but I think as it does, we're trying to figure out how that plays with the AutoCAD product line.
Okay. A specific question about a command. Is the overkill command in this version? So this version of
I think it
AutoCAD.
is.
Yes, overkill is in this version of the product.
Okay, perfect. How do I open an MEP file with MEP symbols in LT for Mac?
So we don't have the MEP enabler for LT for Mac, so unfortunately you're going to get proxy objects, I believe. So you still need a full-blown copy of MEP to edit those objects.
Okay, perfect. Question coming from Twitter, and it looks like also on Facecast, about AutoCAD WS. Does it support layers?
Sure. And we're also going to have layers in the mobile application coming in 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thursday, everyone jump on.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting day.
Good. Okay, so if moving from a PC to a Mac, can I copy support files over from the PC version to use with the Mac?
I believe it depends on the support file, but for the most part, yes. So things like line styles, hatch patterns, all those stuff works pretty seamlessly. Things like CUI files, though, are not quite so seamless, so you do need to customize over again. Mostly because the UI is different, like there's no ribbon to customize, and the toolsets palette is new, but most of the drawing-dependent support files are all come over seamlessly. You have to go into options and make sure you put them in the right location so that the hatch, visor and dialog know where to look for those hatch patterns. But other than that, it comes over pretty clean.
Okay. Did I hear correctly that the Design 816 Facecast, that WS has been downloaded 2.5 million times, and there's been over 15 million sessions?
Yes, we're
that
very
correct?
proud of it, and over the last year we had 1.6 million downloads from the App Store and 1.1 million downloads from the Android market. So it's even more than 2.5 million downloads.
Great. Yeah, that's fantastic. I know we get this question a lot, but want to know what LT means.
I don't know, Matt, what does LT mean?
LT means LT.
There you go.
And same for WS.
Don't read between the letters.
All right. Is plotting CTV or STV?
I'm not sure I understand the structure of the question, but so CTB and STB are both plot styles. The first version of AutoCAD for Mac did not support plot style editing, however, it did support the use of plot styles for plotting. What's new in the 2012 version is that we now have a plot style editor where you can edit both CTB and STB files as much as you want.
All right. Back to the MEP discussion. Can I open MEP Symbols by exploding it?
It depends on the entity structure in the DWG. So if you explode the object and it no longer is an MEP object anymore, it's just lines, arcs, and circles, then yes, you can.
Okay. Let's see. is it possible to work on AutoCAD files back and forth in an environment using both Macs and PCs?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
All right. So just want to remind everyone to send in your questions on the Facecast chat box right below the video that you're viewing currently, or jump onto Twitter and type your questions, including the hashtag design816, and we will try to get them all answered. We're going to give everyone about a 10-minute warning, so get your questions in as soon as possible. Can you upload DWG files to WS, then open them with AutoCAD 2012 for Mac?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
The answer is
All right.
yes.
The answer is yes.
All right.
So you can upload DWG files to WS and then open them with AutoCAD 2012 for Mac.
Yeah, I think like DWG files are the same DWG files whether they are in the cloud, on Windows, or on Mac. So we should all support each other. So
Okay.
it should work. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's see. What version of AutoCAD do you recommend for beginners? If you've never used AutoCAD before, what should you do? You guys each have your own personal opinions.
I'd probably go for AutoCAD LT for Mac, honestly, because I think some things are a little bit easier. Like, we don't stick you with the command line right away. Like, it's a little bit easier and more learnable to some extent. It's still largely based on AutoCAD for Mac, but I think it's a little bit more forgiving in some ways. That would be my personal preference.
And it also kind of depends on how you want to design. If you want to get into more of the 3D modeling and shapes and form, then you're going to want to go with AutoCAD for Mac.
Okay. Let's see. Is there an AutoCAD architecture object enabler available in AutoCAD for Mac?
Yes, there is. So ACA objects come in seamlessly.
Perfect. When will Civil 3D for Mac be available?
No plans at this time.
Keep your requests coming. Hop on over to discussion forums and be sure to follow up with them there. Let's see. Checking Twitter real fast. Don't look like there's anything there. Any other questions coming from our Facecast viewers? Get them in. Only a couple of minutes left to go. Okay, how do I upgrade from LT for Mac to full-blown AutoCAD for Mac?
So since, right now in the Mac App Store, there's no ability to upgrade from anything to anything else. So once you buy LT, as per the rules of the Mac App Store, like that's kind of your app. So there's no facility to upgrade to it or from it. So with that restriction, this can't really happen. So there's ways to upgrade from, AutoCAD 2011 for Mac to AutoCAD 2012 for Mac, but there's no upgrade capability inside the Mac App Store yet.
Okay. Does AutoCAD support other render engines like V-Ray or Maxwell?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Not right
we're
now.
mental ray based, and that's it.
Just a few minutes left here. If you guys have any other questions, maybe you guys can give your opinion. I think Rob, you sort of touched on that you really like LT for Mac. If you guys had to choose your favorite product for this release, which would it be?
Yeah, I would say LT is kind of interesting. I mean, this whole thing is a big learning experience that we've had to go through. So Apple's got lots of rules around how to do apps in the Mac App Store, and the ability to download this product like super fast and buy it right away, like it's a lot quicker and easier than buying any other Autodesk product. So I think for that reason, it's new, it's different, it's cool. I'm a big fan. So, but you can't diss AutoCAD 2012 for Mac because it's got a lot of cool stuff as well. So.
Okay. And Iris, is WS your product of choice?
Yeah, I can't say anything else.
How about you, Matt? Which would you choose if you only used one
Yeah.
product?
I would say AutoCAD 2012 for Mac would be the one I would choose. It's been really rewarding seeing us get more of the feature set in there from AutoCAD and gain more parity with that product and really kind of see it come to life. So I'd go with the full-blown solution.
Okay. We have a question from Facecast viewers. Does this team of people work with all AutoCAD platform products?
Yes.
Yes.
We are the team. D asked how the 49ers are going to do this year. Well, that's definitely a...
I'm a college football kind of kid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm as well.
It's more about how the Oakland Raiders are going to do this year.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
We have a
Lousy.
we have a mixed
Be
bag
quiet,
of fans here, from Cal Bears fans to some Stanford to 49ers to the Raiders, a few people from out of state. So definitely a mixed bag of fans over here. Question about licenses. My office has a service agreement on 10 licenses. Can we convert or use this with the AutoCAD 2012 for Mac?
So by service agreement, I presume you mean subscription. I'm not real sure about that, but if that is subscription, then yeah, I would suggest contacting your reseller. There probably are options to get that to work.
Okay, perfect. Will WS and AutoCAD ever merge?
Well, there's already a connection between AutoCAD and WS, and you can upload files directly from AutoCAD to WS and start collaboration and share files. And we had almost 500,000 drawings that were uploaded directly from AutoCAD to AutoCAD WS, which is an amazing number. Just users uploading from AutoCAD to see their files on their mobile, their the web, and now the Mac. So, and we will see more integration in the future.
Okay. Let's see. How easy is the batch file printing in AutoCAD 2012? Assuming AutoCAD for Mac. Or-
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's it's very easy. No, the batch publish functionality, we took a lot of the things we learned from the Windows version, brought them over, made some changes to that, but it's being very well received by the participants in the beta program, so should work for you.
All right. So Matt, another question from you about your work on the user experience team. Curious what feedback you've gotten on the new AutoCAD for Mac 2012 version and how you improved the interface from the 2011 version.
Right. We didn't make a lot of large-scale improvements to the foundation that we laid in the 2011 version. We did make a lot of small changes here and there. So overall, the feedback we're getting on the interface is good. There are things that we want to go and improve upon in various areas, such as the palettes and the visor system. One of the main things that we did is we have a lot of users who have these big 30-inch gorgeous Mac monitors, and some of our icons showed up very, very small there. So one of the things that we added was a way to just kind of scale up your icons so that they're larger and more readable. But other than that, though, we just kind of tuned the system that we already had built the first go-around.
All right, sounds good. Rob, a question for you about the LT for Mac product. Is there going to be a subscription option available?
We are again kind of limited by the rules of the Mac App Store, and since no subscriptions are available in the Mac App Store, we don't have any subscriptions. However, I will say that the iOS store has subscriptions, so when you buy like the New York Times, you can get issues for free. And sometimes the business models that are available in iOS transfer over to the Mac App Store, but those are not available yet, so we can't really take advantage of it yet. But I expect that probably would happen sometime soon, and we got to figure out how our business processes play nice with that, because it's obviously a different kind of subscription than what we have now.
Right, okay. And sort of related to that, regarding licenses, will I be able to use the LT for Mac license on all of my Macs?
So, as per the rules of the Mac App Store, when you buy the product, you're buying it as an individual. So it's rob.mcguire@autodesk.com. I buy it with my credit card. So I personally am licensed to use it on up to 5 machines. That's true of any Mac App Store app. So you activate and deactivate computers just like you do for iTunes, to activate songs on different machines and stuff like that. So same rules apply.
Okay, perfect. And just to clarify, you can go in and buy LT for Mac today.
Yes,
correct?
you can. If you're in the U.S. and Canada, you can go buy it right now.
Perfect. Okay. Iris, does AutoCAD WS support XREF files?
Sure, it's something that we had from day one, and many of our users are using it.
Okay, perfect. So we have time for just a couple more questions. If you can get them in, chat them into the Facecast, or go ahead and tweet them with the hashtag design816, and we'll take just a couple more. Is it possible to do one change in a batch file? Guessing this is with regards to AutoCAD.
I don't know what that means. One change in a batch file.
If it's a script or if it's a...
Oh, like a BAT file?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right.
Did you clarify your question?
Yeah, sorry.
Clarify your question and we'll try to get that answered. Let's see. Does Script Pro tool work on Windows 7? Script.
No idea.
I'm unfamiliar with what Script Pro tool is.
Yeah, me too.
Answer.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Looks like hopefully someone did answer that for us. Okay.
Software sales, we could make up for it.
If, let's say, so back to the question of, is it possible to do one change in a batch file? They meant, is it possible to make one change in so many files at once?
Oh, like a batch edit of sorts. I'm assuming with...
So, yeah, I mean, it
Lisp or
depends on,
something.
you'd have to pick a language, right? I think if you use Lisp, I don't think you can span multiple drawings with Lisp. Not sure, but I think that was my impression. So I think you'd have to actually write a Object-ARX C++ application to load each drawing, make the modification, save it, open the next one. But is, I think, the only way I know how to do it.
Yeah, it seems like out of the box, the answer is probably no.
Okay. When will LT for Mac be available in Europe?
We're working on it. I would say stay tuned. We'll let you know when we know something for sure.
Autodesk.com.
Yeah, check in with Autodesk.com. And oh yeah, I think we've got our sort of ask for it in my country thing. Did we build that? We
That's
did.
there.
Awesome. So go to Autodesk.com, like AutoCAD LT for Mac, AutoCAD for Mac.
AutoCAD LT.
Okay, so Autodesk.com/AutoCAD LT for Mac, and then you can actually type in, basically let me know when it's available in my country. So you pick France or Europe or wherever, and we'll send you an email when the product becomes available.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that concludes our live question and answer session here from the Autodesk office in San Francisco. Thank you so much to the AutoCAD team for participating today. I hope we answered all of your questions. If not, head on over to the discussion forums and hope you will give the new portfolio of Mac products a try. Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Thank you.